see here. Make sure we got a good view here. See who pops on first. Who's it gonna be? Oh, duck rabbit, what's up? Trying to get everything in place still. Oh man. Gone already. I'm still here. What's up, Bob? I'll take my phone case off this thing so that, and my wipe got off. There we go. What's up, Jason? What's up, Danny? There we go. There. That way, we're good here. We don't have to worry about things overheating. All right. So we are going to take this piece of steel right here, toss it in the forge, and forge a Kwaiken. Now this is going to be slightly larger than the last Kwaiken I did, the one that Danny purchased. So it's going to be slightly bigger than that one. I do have that profile drawn on my other anvil over here. So we are going to have some fun. We are going to forge us a Kwaiken. Let that heat up. Man, I have been busting my butt for the last, well, week trying to knock out so many orders and things like that. What's up, Opal? How you doing? So, we are going to be, like I said, forging a Kwaiken. Before we get into it, I'm going to talk about this a couple of times, but Shop Talk Tuesdays are actually sponsored by Two Bastards Forge. Those are the people who, of course, make all of my wonderful hammers that I use for doing integral bolsters and things like that. If you want a hammer from them, and of course I'll talk about it more here in just a little bit, but you can go on Facebook, it's Two Bastards Forge, or you can go to Instagram, Two Bastards Forge, and they can hook you up with a hammer. They're the official sponsor for the live streams. So this knife is going out to Danny here soon. This is what we're forging tonight. We're going to do a slightly bigger version of this right here. This is getting shipped out first thing in the morning. But that is that's a little Kwaiken right there. I say little, it's a full-size knife. And so that's what we're forging tonight. We're gonna have some fun. We're just gonna do a slightly larger version of that. And some of the things that I've been working on, I had a person commission a rivelet, one of the like heirloom knives that I did out of the file. The video's got like 1 million views on it or whatever. Commissioned one of those, so I'm making one of them for that person. And then I had somebody commission one of these texture knives right here. They have a texture all the way around them. Now they look pretty crazy whenever you actually do the etching on them and then hit them with a Scotch-Brite pad and all that. But this right here, these are going to be super comfortable to use. So this is the one that I did for him. It's a nice profile. It's larger than the one that I did before. Super comfortable, full grip knife. decent sized blade. But because I did this one right here, I was like, you know, everybody tends to want those whenever I make them. So I made some more. I've got another one, just like the one that I made for him. Another full-size one. And then I also made one that's even a little bit lighter than that, out of slightly thinner material. This is super light. So I made one of those. And then I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do one that has a little bit of a clip point, a little bit of a swedge. So I did one and I textured the swedge too. So I've got that, and you can see all the rock texture, what I call that, on there. So I did one like that. So this one is just under 1/4 of an inch thick right here, and the other two, so you got this one, the thinnest one's 3/16 thick. That's the lightest one out of all of them. 3/16 thick on the lightest one. And then the two that are like this, these are 1/4 of an inch thick. And then this one is just under 1/4. It's not 3/16, but it's not a full 1/4 of an inch thick like these other two. But I'm gonna have those on the website. Someone will be able to scoop up those. There will be three of the texture knives available on the website, probably tomorrow. And then we are starting with this. This is the material that I'm forging this Kwaiken out of, is Willie's Jeep leaf spring, like I've done a lot of my different builds out of. So we're gonna have some fun with it. So basically 5160. And we're going to start off by forging the tang down. We got to bring this whole entire material almost like half the height that it is right now. Do y'all want me to use the power hammer? Or just use hammer and anvil? I'm gonna leave that up to y'all. What would y'all prefer? Yep, we're doing a Kwaiken. The Kwaiken is going to be, or how big is what? The Kwaiken or the power hammer? The Kwaiken is going to be slightly, the Kwaiken is going to be larger than this one right here. This is one that I did with the zebra bone for the handle material. That right there. A little old leather sheath for Mr. Danny. So hand, power hammer. I mean, we're going to be doing it by hand for most of it. So what I'll do is, just so y'all can get a little bit of the power hammer action in the actual video, because I can't use it for very long during the day. Well, I can during the day, but I'll use it a little bit for this, and then we'll switch to, I'll pull y'all down here, and then we'll switch to hammering it out, because a lot of this profiling needs to be done with hammer and anvil. But might as well show y'all some of this so you can actually see it in use. can see how fast that that handles the material. I would say that works, right? Power hammer before the neighbors go to bed. Yep. So a hefty shot of Tabasco on Eric's portion. Hey, I'll take a hefty shot of Tabasco on it. So I didn't make the power hammer. One of my good friends, Steve Jennings, he made the power hammer and brought it to me from Kansas. It's an awesome little setup. It's got a 30-pound hammer, so the main head here is 30 pounds. And that's a big, solid piece of steel all the way through here. Need a glove with spikes on it. So what we'll do is we'll draw the material out, or we'll make it the height that we need it with the power hammer, and then we'll forge all the profile and do all that by hand. So we'll draw this down a little bit more. So as you can see, I mean, we've brought it down quite a bit just with the power hammer there. So we'll go ahead and bring that down some more. The nice thing is, this bottom piece right here heats up real easily, so it doesn't suck the heat out of the steel as fast as like an anvil does. So whenever you're using this, you get to, use it a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and move y'all back so that y'all can see the whole entire power hammer in action whenever I'm using it. That way y'all can actually get a decent view. What's up, Jeff from Nova Scotia? This will give y'all a full look at how it is. Can you put a gut hook in skinning blades? You sure could. I don't do knives with gut hooks because they're a pain in the butt. I've done one in the past. I don't do them because I don't like making gut hook knives. Let's see here. Okay. And yeah, I love this power hammer. This has made my life so much easier. It's ridiculous. Now we still have a ton of hammering to do with this by hand. See if this fits the box jaw tolerance real quick. It does. So we're switching around and we'll go ahead and work on the front a little bit, aka the tip. I'm gonna put the funny thing is you don't need to put like a whole bunch of grease on this. It's got grease certs. But Mr. Steve told me just to do just a little pinch of WD-40 on here. Question much power hammer. Vehicle. Okay. So the spring came off of a Ford, an old Ford, and it is a big leaf spring. I've used it. So big leaf spring. It's actually the same leaf spring that I typically use to make some of my bigger knives. I've got part of it left and this back corner over here. Refrigerator stickers. Okay. We're going to go ahead and draw out the tip a bit. We're doing good. Okay, evidently we have a whole bunch of kids running down our alley right now. Let's see here. These spring knives are awesome. Kukri is my favorite. So I've got one for you. It's a like kukri. Now this isn't a super traditional kukri, but we did this one on the last live stream. It's an integral bolster kukri right there that we did, and that is after forging it what it actually looks like. With the integral bolster looks like, and again that's all the finish that's on the sides is all from forging, going down into the heel, the transition from the bolster down into the ricasso and all that, nice and straight. So of course this right here, the handle will come back and come down a little bit, but that is going to be a it is almost like a buoy and a kukri had a baby. So I'm not a huge fan of the huge dip to the blade that most kukris have. I do it slightly different than that. Okay, let's go ahead and this will be the last little bit we'll do on the power hammer. Okay, so that's where we're at right now, and then we're going to go ahead and finish doing the rest of it by hand. I'm going to go ahead and flip it around. We'll get the handle area cleaned up. The part that's going to be the tang, get all that cleaned up, and then we'll go ahead and work on the tip and everything from there. So let's pull y'all back here. Lower you down. Make sure y'all can actually see what we're doing here. Alright. So the rest of this will be by hand. I'll crouch down here so that y'all can actually see me talk. What's up, Mom? How you doing? What's up, Mule? All right. This shouldn't take very long to heat back up. So the goal for this is, of course, we're doing a Kwaiken. So a Kwaiken's got a lot of profile to it. It's got a lot of arch in the spine and in the belly of it. So we got to make sure that as we're doing this, we're getting that nice profile out of it. And they are sleek, sleek, sleek knives with a very pointy tip. They don't look like a Tonto. They don't have that type of tip to them. Let's go ahead and come in. We want to round this back section off a little bit. Okay, if y'all don't have yourself a set of box jaw tongs, you need to, because in order to hammer in the corners like we're doing right now, being able to have this backstop, that's still a little spicy, being able to have that backstop right there so that you can hammer this way is super huge. And I'm happy I didn't touch that like 30 minutes into this, because I touched right there on the tongs. If I'd have touched that 30 minutes into this, that would have burned my finger. Luckily, I did not burn my finger. Let's see here. Just force down the material a little. Yep. Kwaiken is a Japanese defense knife. So yeah, so you're going to have the Kwaiken is going to be like your, if I could call it anything, you know how we have our K-bar knife? That's their Kwaiken. Or that's their K-bar, is the Kwaiken, if anything. People use it for all kinds of different things. It's a great utility knife, things like that. Yeah, there you go, kind of like a boot knife. What's up, Ryan? How you doing? Okay, so we're going to keep shaping this, profiling it. Keep rounding that back section. That way we don't have any fish lips or anything like that. So now we have that nice round back section of your handle. We're going to end up thinning this down right now because of forging it. We're about 1/4 of an inch thick. We're going to go all the way down to about 3/16 of an inch thick on this. Very wide or very thick. I could leave it at that 1/4 inch if I wanted to. Let's make sure notifications are turned off. There we go. But we're going to go through and we're going to start lengthening it and flattening it as we go. We're going to have a nice pretty profile with this one. Now, I will tell you this, for anyone who's wanting to get into knife making, this profile is not a complicated profile to forge. It's kind of more of a simplistic version of a knife because it doesn't have all of the different profiles that come with making a knife. So typically, You have your knife. It's going to have a profile like this. So you got to concentrate on getting this forged into it. You don't have to do that on this particular knife because this is even here. Your handle is even with the heel of the blade. So it's all one profile. So this is a little more complicated to forge, where the knife that we're working on right now, what you're really focused on with it is getting the symmetry right and getting the right geometry of it and the right profile. And making sure that you can actually get that nice uniform curve to it from the back side and the front side, because this doesn't match. This curve is not this curve. This curve's way more aggressive than the curve that's on the spine. We're going to make a version of this Jeff Rose, little Kwaiken. This one's going to Danny tomorrow. It fits that sheath just absolutely awesome, man. Like, it has just a nice fit on that. And I love that the contrast of the black with the bone and everything. Let's see here. What's the point? Okay, the point doesn't go back past. Correct. Shape of it almost reminds me of the animal's claw. Very, very good point. It does. It really reminds me of a claw. Okay, so we got to take this and step it down some more. Start getting that tapered profile as we're going, and we are thinning it as we go and keeping it uniform. What we'll end up doing is we will almost create a spike. Should have moved y'all back down. We will almost create a spike with it, and then we'll put that curve into it. We'll probably get a little bit of a curve just by default as we're doing this, but I'll tell you, like, getting the profile right is one of the biggest things you got to focus on. This comes in play with a lot of these different arched ones. So, like whenever we did this one, this of course is the sword version of a quaken. That's one of the ones that, if you haven't seen the live streams, we did that one on a live stream. But getting this shape is a fun process. Sword version of the quaken. But that goes in the same plate as this one right here. That's a wakizashi that I'm doing. Of course, this is a little bit different. I love this. I'm going to have so much fun making this thing. Oh, and I'm also going to show y'all progress on the Viking challenge. Show you where we're at on that. So coming back in, narrowing it down some more. Starting to get a uniform thickness. Still need to bring it down a little bit in the thickness. You see how there is a difference between this color and the one right next to it? How this is a little bit shinier, that's a little bit duller. That dull area is a low spot. So the more shiny, brighter area, that's a high spot. This is a low spot. We need to get all that uniform thickness as we're doing this. It's effective use of geometry, lots of slicing, belly straight spine. Yep. Thank you, Duck. Things of a wicked cutter. It is, and I was so sad whenever I sold the last one that I had to make another one. It's me, or does it move material faster? I do move material faster than the power hammer, actually. You want to see the sword version again? The thing that the power hammer does is it helps with not having to swing a hammer. So this is the length of this. It's my full arm length. And the whole point behind this is whenever everything's all said and done, the weight will be almost even between handle and blade. So once we finish grinding the bevels and we add the handle material to it, it should be perfectly balanced at the heel of the blade. But that right there is this. You'll see that the bevels will come all the way up to there. I've got them marked in marker. So just an absolute two-handed. The nice thing about the two-handed is whenever you are cutting through something, you can fully get all the momentum from this action right here, from pulling, coming straight through. And whenever I do the handle profile, I do them to where the geometry or the ergonomics is for your hand to go this way, knuckles towards the cutting edge, this way, knuckles towards the side of the blade. It just makes it to where it is super comfortable. So I did a Kali Silat whenever I was younger, stick and knife fighting, and I wanted that to feel comfortable when you're using it. Trying to get rid of that low spot right now. A little bit of planishing. Okay. So now you'll see that there's very minimal. See how there's very minimal amount of that different shade right there. So we got the shinier stuff on both sides of it. We were able to get rid of a bunch of that low spot. We're still good, looking good, nice and even down the thickness. Go back in there. So this will be the last heat that we'll mess with the handle for right now. Of course, we need to go through and start working on the the blade section of it. Thank you, Madman559. I appreciate that. I have fun doing this. I love doing the live stream version of this because it's like a free hammer in where you actually get to ask questions and talk during it, as opposed to just a video that I released where you kind of have to ask questions in the comment section and after the fact. So I'm assuming that this will probably be about 3-4 inches longer than the other Kwaiken. And I'm assuming that the overall length on this is probably going to be about 11 inches long, 11-12 inches. I could be wrong, it could be a little bit off, but I think it's going to be closer to about 11-12. Right now, yep, it's definitely going to be 12 inches. These are more planishing blows than anything, just evening out the thickness. You don't have to do a ton of this right now because we're going to focus more on all the cleanup after we get the profile done. But I figured, why not go ahead and use the rest of that heat to do that? So now we're going to start really making this thing look like a Kwaiken. We're going to start working on the cutting it from the tip side. And right now, we're already at about 9.5 inches long. So we're going to get to see how much length we're going to get out of this as we start drawing out that long, thin point to it. We'll see how much length we can get out of it. Well, I'll let you know whenever I get it done. Well, of course, you'll see it get done because I'll be finishing it on the channel, and then you just let me know. And the best part about this is that I've got some beautiful handle material that's going to go on it. Oh, I got another thing to show y'all. So I did some more work on a few of the other knives. Look at this thing. How awesome looking is that thing looking? That's one of the 1/4 inch thick. This is the large camp knife version of my EDCs. Like that is just a comfortable knife. Got all the brute de forge finish on it. And this is already heat treated and everything. Just got to do some more work to it. But that bad boy right there, the handle that's going on this, I'll show y'all the material. So I still have some of that Gidgee left over. So this is going on there, plus this curly maple. So that is going to be the handle on that knife. We're going to do a cool spacer in between it. Nice two-tone. It is going to be absolutely epic looking. And I got a whole bunch of the medium-sized versions done. So these are the medium-sized versions. Love these. That's a full hand version of them. Right. Start working on this blade. So we're going to come in and we're going to forge in the hump, pull that down in. Something. Whenever I'm working on, you see the shinier area again versus the dull area up here. Whenever I'm working on pushing that back into place, I'm coming in and I'm hammering at an angle. So I'm hammering at an angle, not super drastic like this right here, but just at a little bit of an angle. And I am coming from here and coming down into the blade whenever I'm forging that section. The whole point behind that is I'm trying to compress it, and I don't want to hit that dull spot with the hammer and make that lower. So I'm coming in and I'm hitting like this. Instead of coming in and dropping down the hammer, I'm pulling in as we're doing that. Looks like a butter knife right now. Not going to look like a butter knife for long. Yak more whack whack. I love it. Ever use bison horn? I haven't used bison horn, but I have some to use. One of these days, I would like to get a knife from you. I like the forged texture you leave on your blades. Thank you. Got to have that brute to forge. The funny thing is, you'll have some people that think that the brute to forge is like a lazy thing. You'll have people that think that leaving the brute to forge on there is like a lazy way to not do a whole bunch of extra work. But a good brute to forge knife, one that has been left with the texture, but I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you. So we'll take this one for instance. So when you look at the spine of that, and you can really see the spine against that bright light and that white right there, you wouldn't know that there is actually a forged finish on the side of it. It's nice and clean and straight. That's what you're going for with a good brute to forge finish. You want the texture, but you don't want all of the dents in the sides here. So texture, but clean at the same time. And that's where spending a lot of time on the hammer and anvil, getting used to how your hammer blows are, making sure that your hammer swings and your planishing and everything is nice and even, so that whenever you look at your spine, everything looks nice and even and symmetrical whenever you actually go through and you finish your knife. Now, there are some people that will do a brute to forge knife and it will be super wavy and bumpy. I don't like that. That's not my jam. I want it to be clean. Did you see my Viking build? Yes, I did. So after we do this heat, I'm going to show y'all what the my Viking challenge. Now I still have plenty to do on it, but I'll show you the blade where I'm at on it. So we're going to keep thinning this out. Like I was saying, by default, it starts getting some of that curved profile to it. So I'll show you what this thing kind of looks like right now. It's a little, you know, got fingerprints and hand marks and all that stuff all over it. I'll take some of that off real quick. Show y'all what this actually looks like. I still have a bunch of work to do on it. I already started doing some of my handle, but that right there, there's your bevels on it. And of course, it's a forged fuller. So fuller all the way down that is actually forged into there. That's not a done with a small wheel attachment. So that right there is where we're at on it. The blade length is, I think it's like 18 inches right now. Yeah, about 18 inches for the blade length. I still have some more work to do to it, some more grinding, things like that. But that's where we're at so far on it. Everything's looking nice and good. It is super straight. That is going to be super awesome. I think it's going to look really good. Of course, whenever I do the video, I'll explain more about some of the stuff for it. Okay. Let's keep working on this thing. Okay. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something extra for y'all in this episode, or in this live stream. So I could easily, right now, I could easily go through, put the arch in this, and call this thing done. We're going to have some fun. So what I'm going to do, pull y'all up here real quick. He said fuller it. What I'm going to do is fuller the quaken with the recurve. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do some more traditional fun stuff with this. Let me get y'all kind of set up here. And a serrated edge. So just like I did this wakizashi, what I'm going to do is I'm going to forge that double bevel into this. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'll probably make this quaken a hidden tang, and I'll go ahead and forge just like I did this, because this has a double bevel. If you look at the back side here, bevel towards the edge, both edges, and I'm going to do that on this. We're going to make this thing even more epic than it was currently going to be. Lower y'all back down so y'all can see what I'm actually going to do. Clean it up just a little bit more. Thin it out just a little bit more because doing the bevels is going to make it taller. Now, I've never done this version of a quaken, so this is going to be the first time y'all see me do it. All right. So basically what's going to end up happening is there's going to be a ridge going down it, and it's going to be awesome. I forgot built-in bottle opener. Yep, so it won't be a double-edged quaken. What it'll be is just like this wakizashi, or if you look at katanas, katanas have a bevel on the spine. So it's not a katana doesn't have a flat on the spine. There's a bevel that goes to the spine and a bevel that goes towards the cutting edge, and there's a ridge that runs down it, just like this one right here. So like I did this, there's 3 bevels. There's a bevel on the top, bevel on the cutting edge, and a bevel on the tip. And all 3 of those are forged on this particular blade. And I'm going to do that on this. I'm going to try out in this. I'm going to do let's use the $100 hammer from Mr. Brian House. Mess around with it a little bit. So whenever we're doing this, what we want to make sure of is that when we're forging in the bevels, that we have a consistent center line, center ridge. We want to make sure that it's consistent on both sides so that they match up real well. And the way this is going to be forged is that ridge goes all the way through the tang. So when we do these bevels, we've got to forge the bevels all the way through the end of the handle. Now, not all the way through the complete end of the handle, but at least past where the guard's going to be. There's fancy words for that, suba, hibaki, all them craps. What's up, Mr. Fargerland? How you doing? How you doing? So we're working on a Kwaiken tonight. I'm doing, right now, we're going to be forging the bevel down the cutting edge and a bevel down the spine. The bevel on the cutting edge is going to, of course, come closer to the being a cutting edge profile, so it's going to be narrower than the one that's on the spine. We just want that medial ridge going down it. And because I don't want to do this too fast, I'm using my my little bitty tiny dog head hammer from Mr. Brian House and Gnome Hammer Forge. If I did this with the 5-pound hammer, we'd be done in like 10 minutes. Go back at the heat. So on this next one, this next heat, we'll go ahead and forge on the spine a little bit, and that'll bring that tip back down to center. I'm doing good, I'm doing good. What's up, silly clown? What's up, Santa Claus? y'all's names on here cracking me up. So we're having some fun. We started off the video using the power hammer and did a little bit of work on it. And then we're just doing the rest of this by hand. I'm using my itty bitty little hammer. It just cracks me up because a lot of people, you know, they see normal hammers and you like, look at the size of the difference here. my normal hammer versus that little bitty dude. Ooh. And the wife brought me some spaghetti. It's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot. The spaghetti's hot. The spaghetti just came out of the pot there. That bad boy. Not spicy hot, but burn your mouth hot. Okay, now we're going to go through the spine a little bit. You see right now we have that big hook going towards the front. Brought it down a little bit. I don't know if she put any Tabasco sauce in it. So while we're doing this and we're doing the bevels on both sides, we need to make sure that we're also focused on the profile, because we can easily throw this whole entire profile out of whack by doing all these extra bevels and stuff like that. So we do want to pay attention to the profile. Now the cool thing is, Kwaiken doesn't have an insane profile, so we can always fix it. But you don't want it to get too out of whack to where you have to spend so much extra time trying to fix things that you could have just done in the process of forging it. But y'all typically see me do my thing. When we get to the planishing phase, that's when we make everything look pretty. Right now we're still in the material moving phase, so it doesn't have to look super beautiful at this point. We'll get everything looking super pretty whenever we focused on the pretty phase. Come back in on the cutting edge. I think this is going to be cool. Let's do this. I'm going to actually switch to the tang side. I want to do just a little bit of beveling on it. Because again, with the way that we're doing this, the bevels are going to go halfway through the actual tang area. And then whenever we do our guard, we're going to actually slot the guard to match the diamond profile of the actual blade. That would have been a lot easier if we didn't do that, but it is what it is. Okay, spaghetti cooled down just a hair. For people who hadn't, who got in after I showed it, that's where I'm at right now on my Viking challenge. Again, forged fuller. It is looking good. That is going to be a very large sax, very large, like a short sword. But I'm doing wrought iron fittings on it, bone handle. It's gonna be pretty cool. Okay, beveling through that tang. What's the spine thickness on it? So the spine thickness on that is it's too thick to be fair. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick at the spine. You're definitely not getting a normal sax that's that thick, but I've got some stuff that I want to do to the spine, and I needed the spine to be a certain thickness in order to do that stuff. Okay. Don't you just love it when the steel gets to a point to where it's retaining heat and it heats back up super fast? Now on the spine side of the tang, we don't have to get the whole tang looking absolutely epic because a lot of that's going to be hidden underneath the handle, but clean it up as much as possible. You can get some mammoth tusk for this axe. So I am using a awesome piece of zebra bone that I found for the handle on that thing. And then of course wrought iron, plus I've got some other materials that are going into it. It's going to be a cool handle. It's definitely going to be unique, and it's going to scream meat. It's going to absolutely look like something I would want. Thank you, Robert. So this hammer right here, made by Gnome Hammer Forge, is a collaboration with Brian House with House Made. Let's see if you can see the actual skull on the back side there. There you go. Got that. This is one of the $100 hammers from Brian. And don't forget that, again, I'm not using the hammer just yet, but I will be using some of them here in a minute. My live stream is sponsored by Two Bastards Forge. They're the ones that supply the bulk of my hammers. They, of course, do the hammers that I use to do my integral bolster knobs. These hammers are absolutely beautiful with the facets and everything done to them, the gun bluing. Love them. Straight peen, my cross peen, straight peen. All right. Looking good so far. Of course, profile still all out of whack right now, but we'll get all of that in line. What's up? How you doing? Got family in the house. What I'm going to do, we're going to go ahead and finish doing the little bit of work on the tang. We'll switch back to the blade. I could do a buoy next live. Now, y'all are going to be getting a really cool buoy here in about a month. So, in about a month, I'm doing a buoy with an integral guard. So it'll have an actual full guard on it, but it's all going to be made out of the same piece of steel. So I'll have a step down from the guard into the tang, and then a step down from the guard into the ricasso. So it'll all be mono, one piece, and it's going to be unique. We are using 5160 on this one. This is a piece of reclaimed steel. It was reclaimed off of a Willys Jeep. So it is Willys Jeep leaf spring, which I think is awesome. And the profile up just a hair while we're doing this. Keep focusing on that ridge, making sure it's where it needs to be. looking good. We got our ridge going. You can see it's actually this darker line that's right here. So that's looking good. The profile on the tang is looking good. Do you have more control of that style of hammer? Yes and no. Prototyping something like that last year. Yeah, and Will Stelter's doing one on his channel right now. So why do I choose reclaimed steel? I only do very specific claimed steels. I do not do, I'm not a big fan of using unknown steels. I've got a certain amount of the buoy, the post delta screw, that buoy. I'm not doing all the ridiculous stuff that he did. So with mine will be an integral guard one, but it's not going to be all of the extra stuff that he's doing. So I only use specific reclaimed steels. If I know what it's from, I'll use it. I've got leaf spring material, and I've got coil spring material, and I already know what they came off of, and that it is 5160, and that it does heat treat well. And then I spend a lot of time testing it, doing the heat treat process, nailing the heat treat, nailing the temper, and then snap testing, doing all that stuff, and making sure that I'm comfortable with the steel. I don't just swing for the fences and hope that I hit something. So when you asked, do you have more control over a hammer like this? I wouldn't say that I have more control with it. I have a lot of control with it because it's so much lighter than my normal hammer. So by default, I can control it more. But it's something you have to get used to swinging because all the weight's on one side. But what's nice about it is it takes your hand and it puts you way over the anvil. So if you are hammering like this, you can get into spots. If you are using this hammer and you try and do that, you can't really do it because the face is so close. But if you hammer right here, you're punching the anvil. So it just lets you have a different amount of control because you're so all the way up here. Boom, boom, boom. Just like that. But we're getting that ridge is looking real good. We're going to where the ridge is higher, and you know it's about a third of the way down, or the bevel's going to be 2/3 of the way up. But you can see that ridge right there, nice and crisp. Let's see if I can get it this side to show up. Right there, you can see it right there. Or there you go. So we're getting that nice and uniform and good, and our handle profile is looking good. It's got a nice taper to it. So at this point, we'll go ahead and switch and start working towards the blade from there. But right now, we are 11.5 inches long. Oh, I'm still eating. Miss Rivers came in here to double check and make sure I've got my food going.
Did you see your upper up got on?
Mm-hmm. I said half.
I guess if you don't follow his Instagram stories, you would know, but he actually scrapped the buoy he was working on. Oh crap, that sucks. That sucks. I won't be scrapping mine. I'm going to make mine happen. Of course, I'm not doing Damascus with it. So it's going to make mine a little bit easier.
That sits on the floor.
So my wife makes like the only spaghetti that I like. I wouldn't say that I'm a big fan of spaghetti. I'm a big fan of her spaghetti. Now she puts like crazy ingredients into it. But the sauce is tangy. I love that aspect of it. So I could be using several other hammers for this. I'm choosing to use this one. For one, we're doing a Japanese style blade, so I figured why not use a dog head. Two Bastards is in the process of making me a 3.5 pound dog head hammer. So he's in the process of making me that. I of course have my 5 pound cross peen. For those who don't know what a man's hammer looks like, this is what a man's hammer looks like. You need to move material, hit it with a 5 pound cross peen. You'll draw whatever you want. You want big forearms? Get yourself a 5 pound hammer. That guy right there, that moves some material. But yeah, Two Bastards right there. And he's also supplies the only hammers that Jay Nielsen uses in his Texas shop. All the hammers that he uses in that shop, you know, Jay Nielsen from Forge and Fire, they're all from Two Bastards. He exclusively uses Frank Machado's hammers. Focus on getting a nice, even spine thickness. Making sure we're keeping our profile in check as we do these steps. Look, we got some whoopties going on here. We got to get all that cleaned up as we're doing this. And then also make sure that our ridge stays nice and even as we're doing that as well. I do get it because he had a slip up with the mill. I hope that he does another one of those because that would have been an absolute awesome build if he would have finished it. I know he had kind of issues on several things with that, with the guard not, having some delaminations and things like that and having to fix those and thin it out. I just think there was a bunch of different issues that were giving him hell on that particular build. Starting it. Okay, good. Yeah, I was really excited about that one. And I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff that he was doing. We're going to be showing how to upset shoulders and upset steel. We're going to be using a bunch of different stuff to make sure everything looks great on it. Right now what I want to do is I want to get this center section to have a good profile on it. And something more uniform than what it is right now. That pulled it back in line a little bit. And one of the things that we need to do is we need to make sure that we pull this ridge all the way together through this whole center part here. Because we have it going through here, and we have it towards the tip. We need to make sure we're pulling it all the way through as we're moving this material out. Yeah, there will be an upsweep on it. It's going to be a Kwaiken. So it'll be, I'll show you real quick. So we're making a big version of this right here. So that is a Kwaiken right there. So we're making a big version of that knife. That's one of the ones, got a nice little hamon in it. There you go. So, we're making a big version of that. And it's going to be slightly different than that one as well. Because this one will be a hidden tang. It'll have some of the more traditional fittings and things like that. It's called a Kwaiken. Kwaiken. What's up, Wanda Roach? Yeah, I wouldn't want to be stabbed by it as well. Like I was saying earlier, some of the things that I've been working on today were these knives right here. So these are some just nice, chill, textured knives. What I like is the transition between the bevels and the texture going down the spine towards the tip. The texture all the way down it. It's a really comfortable knife. Nice profile. Full hand knife. But yeah, I made a few of these. This one's got a swedge on it, and the swedge has the rock texture. Has the texture all the way down it. Comes all the way up to a nice point. But yeah, I made these. These are ones that I was working on today. I knocked out 4 of them. I got to heat treat them and finish them up tomorrow. I'll be posting a picture of these so you actually get to see what they look like finished, because they look a lot different than they do right now whenever I finish them. Because they'll be edged and cleaned up, and you'll be able to see all of the texture real well. what I'm gonna do now, we have our profile where we want it, but what I still need to do is, like I said, finish doing that ridge, evening that out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna forge and finish the spine section and get the ridge all the way to where we want it. Nice uniform ridge all the way down the blade. And then we're gonna continue forging the bevels, and we'll clean up the bevel side of the ridge, and that'll give us a nice crisp line all the way down the blade. So what you got to think about, what's up Maxilla, how you doing? Got a folder I've been working on, it's a Kwaiken. Heck yeah. I've got a friction folder that I've got a design for that I plan on doing. So whenever we're doing this particular profile that I'm doing right now, one of the things that you have to focus on, because we're doing a double bevel, we're basically making like a dagger, so it's got a medial ridge. And whenever you're going through and you're forging the bevels on the spine, it's going to curve the blade towards the cutting edge. When you're forging the bevels on the cutting edge, it's going to curve the blade towards the spine. So you've got to be able to forge the bevels and keep the profile that you want. So you need to be able to hammer on the cutting edge, hammer on the spine, hammer on the cutting edge, hammer on the spine, keep it all going, straighten your profile as you're going. You've got to manage that material the entire time, so that whenever you are forging something like this that has all the bevels on it, you can keep it in the right profile. So if I'm forging a regular knife, I can make the steel look as ugly as possible in the forging process and end up cleaning it up during the planishing process. Because we're doing the bevels on this, we have to semi-planish it every single time. How long have I been working on this particular project? An hour and 20 minutes. So it took about 9 minutes for it to heat up. So again, we're working on the spine. Whenever we're forging this, we have the steel, we have it tilted. So we're hammering at an angle, and the steel is angled on the actual anvil. That helps us compress both sides of it. Now you're going to start seeing the ridge, which you can see where it's darker on this side, lighter on this side. You can see that our ridge is starting to transfer from the tang all the way up to the tip on that. So I got some work to do on it, but we want to do the spine first so that we can get that nice and beveled. And then whenever we come in and we finish the bevels on the cutting edge, it'll finish curving the blade back up to where it was. Basically what we're doing is we're making a very stabby banana. It's a danger banana. Stab banana. Stab banana. Stab banana. Tell me that's not a banana profile though. That's 100% a banana profile. So once I'm comfortable with the ridge on the spine and I'm comfortable with that spine bevel, I'll then switch it over and start really working on the edge bevel. Good experience with Discord, so if you want, I can add some stuff, upgrade the server a bit. Absolutely, Doug. I would 100% appreciate that. Do I need to make you like an admin on there so that you can do that? Chiquita was the designer for this. That's a good one. Okay, yeah, I'll make you an admin. That way you can help with that, because I definitely need help with that. Everything in line. I'm happy I decided to do it like this. Yeah, we'll talk about that whenever we get done doing this, Doug, if you're cool with that. And if y'all didn't know, I do have a Discord. So if y'all want to join that, I actually post on there pretty often. I don't really post near as much on like Instagram and stuff like that. Even my Facebook page. I do more what I'm working on that day and the Discord than anything. So if you want to see what I'm doing on the regular, the Discord is the place to be for that. You can ask the guys in there. I talk way more in that than almost anything else. Doing some planishing, making sure that everything is even. Whenever I do the last bit of planishing, we won't really move the profile much. We'll just be cleaning things up, so I don't have to worry too much about planishing right now, but I do want to, you know, make everything look even as we're doing this. All right, so I think right now we've got enough ridge built into this. You can see the ridge stands out a ton right now. all the way through towards the tip. So kind of see it right there where it's lighter on this side, darker on the other side. There we go. So now I can go ahead and start working on the cutting edge side. And we'll get all that set up. Now, if we start getting too much of a curve on this one, then we'll go ahead and we'll clean up the profile again. So if we start forging in these bevels even more and we get too much of a hook, we'll just clean up the profile during the process. You ever made a gaiuto knife? I have. I've made several gaiutos. I actually have a a Serbian / gaiuto mixture thing that I was messing with that I still need to finish. So it's a Serbian cleaver, the little K-tip. That's a big son of a gun. That thing is 3/8 of an inch thick at the thickest point, and then goes all the way down to 1/8 of an inch at the end of the tang. We did that on one of the live streams. Let that get just a little bit hotter. It's crazy how little the anvil has moved because I've been using this light hammer that's like maybe a couple of pounds. And versus using this hammer, which is a lot more than a couple of pounds. This hammer, whenever I'm hammering with it, I move the anvil all kinds of places. But I've been forging this entire time, and nope, not at all, not one lick. Hey Nisha, can you put in the comment section Frank's stuff for the Two Bastards Forge? How many blades have I built? Several hundred. Several hundred. I have done a lot of knives. A whole lot. I've got on my workbench right now, I've got probably 35 knives on the workbench right now. So coming in on the actual cutting edge now. Okay, I'm going to heat it back up. I want to put just a little bit more taper. I want to narrow that down just a little bit more. Like it's already looking good, but I want to bring that down even more. And then we'll continue forging the bevels. Glue your anvil stand to your shop floor. So the reason why I don't glue the anvil down, I'll show you something. So my shop is only so big and everything on wheels. Anvil, wheels. Forge, wheels. Workbench with the 2x72, the drill press, the porta band saw. So that whole workbench that has all my dust crate and stuff on, let's see here, on wheels. So everything can be rolled around, so that's on wheels. The other anvil on wheels. The only thing that's really not on wheels is, of course, the power hammer. So, not gonna have that on wheels. That would suck. Could you imagine? Boom, 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 and it's just moving around the shop, destroying the wheels. What's up, Bill? How you doing? We're working on a Kwaiken. You're wondering what I'm making? Okay. Getting more comfortable with the profile now. So now we can go back to doing some more beveling. What's up, Ian? How you doing? Anvil's not shaking. That does rhyme with it too. So, of course, the anvil doesn't move really at all in this spot. It will rotate just a little bit, but it doesn't rock in this spot. I've actually got the ground. I've got the ground marked where this anvil goes, and it comes to the same spot every single time I use it, because this is the spot that's like perfect for the anvil. Now, whenever I'm using the bigger hammers, like these, when I'm using those, then it moves the anvil quite a bit, because you're talking about 5-pound hammers, and you go and you start swinging this on things, it might move it a little bit. But yeah, everything's on wheels, so I can move things away, pull things out, and use the tools that I want to use at that time. Let's go back to working on the bevels. Whenever I'm working on it in that lower heat, it's more planishing, but we're looking good. The profile's looking good. The ridge is looking good. Of course, if I was able to clean everything off, it'd be even better. But you can see that we're getting this bevel brought up, so this spine bevel doesn't go all the way to the tip. It comes all the way back to about right here. So we've got a little bit more cleaning up to do here to make sure that the bevels are right. We're straight, of course, the whole entire time, because why not? But the profile's looking awesome. Just gotta keep getting those bevels where they need to be so that ridge looks awesome. Not even started with social. I can't make them fast enough. That's awesome. That's a good problem to have, is that you're selling them super fast. So my favorite blade that I've ever built is the World of Warcraft knife. I call it the WoW knife. It has 35 hours worth of hand filing on the spine. It's got dragon scales on the spine. That's my favorite out of all of them that I've ever done. It was for the fantasy challenge that we did. That's my favorite. If Nisha's still on the podcast, my wife, not the podcast, the live stream. We did a podcast last night. It's on my mind. And if Chip has that out, you need to go watch or listen to the podcast. It's the Knives Templars podcast. It's awesome. But if she's on the live stream still, she can actually bring the World of Warcraft knife out here. I'll show you what it looks like and what I'm talking about. Again, it's projects like this that make me confident that if I went on Forged in Fire, I would do okay. Because I just forged this primarily with an itty bitty little bitty hammer. And we are looking absolutely freaking awesome. So I'm going to grab the other tongs real quick. I can grab them all the way back here. Alright. You see our ridge? All the way down it, all the way to the tip. Our ridge, all the way down it, all the way to the tip, all the way through the handle, all the way down. Got our nice profile, our Kwaiken profile. Nice and straight. Looking good. Actually, probably straighten it just a hair more. Nope. Actually, no. Never mind. We're good. But yeah, so that's got a bevel on both the spine and the cutting edge, all the way down. Nice and uniform, all the way down. Our Kwaiken blade profile. What do y'all think about that? I think that is going to be absolutely awesome. Let's see what our length is now. So we're about 11 3/4 of an inch. So Forged in Fire is infinitely more difficult and unpredictable. I know a lot of people to go on it. A fair amount of guys have won. Yeah, a little bit, but I'm friends with like 25 of the champions, and I talk to them all the time. And I'm friends with people who've been runners up, and people that have won it. And of course, I'm friends with Jay Nilsson and Jason Knight, guys that have judged on it. And the only thing that would throw me for a loop is if I went on and they were like, all right, it's one of the ones where you got to build your own coal forge. Like if I had to build my own coal forge and then do it, that'd be a pain in the butt. But I'm comfortable with the Damascus challenges, and I'm comfortable with everything else. You get access to a power hammer, you get access to a press. And I mean, I forged entire swords in 2 hours without a power hammer or a press. And that was to forge to profile and bevels. So I feel pretty confident. A lot of things can happen. The things that would throw me for a loop is if I had a bad forge weld, or if I had a failure with the material or something like that. That would throw me for a loop. But the actual forging, whatever profile they asked me to forge, because I've forged daggers, I've forged double-bladed daggers that had a dagger on both ends. So I had 8 bevels, and I've forged swords, I've forged knives, throwing knives, pretty much everything that you could forge at this point. So I feel confident. I'm not saying that I'm so confident that I would absolutely win it or something like that. I'm saying that my confidence level is pretty high. Which is a good thing. That's kind of I prefer to be confident, not cocky, but confident. The thing is, you can easily sound cocky when you're being confident. So you gotta be careful doing that. I'm just saying I feel like I could do pretty good on it. Just cleaning up the area where I had the box jaw tongs holding on to it. Is it necessary? Nope. Figure I might as well. And I'm going to switch to the other side. I'm going to take a little bit of a twist out of it that I had from holding it with the other tongs. I've got a little bit of a twist. Okay, so I'm holding it straight up and down. You can see that the top here, it's twisted this way, that way. So I'm going to take that twist out of it. One last thing I gotta mess with later. Go on there, mediocre smiths at best. They can make great knives, just not go at forging. Yeah, definitely under perfect conditions, because I've seen episodes where they're like, okay, we're outside, you get no power hammer, no press, you got that junk pile, you gotta make a coal forge out of that junk pile, and then the steel you're going to use, you got to get off of that motorcycle over there. Now, of course, they have like welded pieces of steel onto the motorcycle, but I've worked with coil springs. I've done integral bolster knives by hand. I've done a lot of different profiles and a lot of different types of steel. And so I feel like even under shitty circumstances, I still feel confident. Watch, I get a chance to go on there and I absolutely fail. They're like, You know what? You were talking trash on your live stream. We watched that thing. And so now you got to make your own coal forge. You don't get any coal, so you have to go dig up your coal. And then on top of that, you got to keep it. You got to keep the airflow by blowing through a tube because you don't get a fan. And you see, I would think it would be more like, how can we torture these guys if they didn't give you access to a power hammer or a press? And they were like, you only get a 1-burner forge. Only get a 1-burner forge. You only get, you can only use hammer and anvil, and that's it. That's torturing. As soon as you get access to a power hammer or a press, it's no longer torture. At least in my eyes. Getting it twisted back into line. I've had lots of conversations with Jay Nilsson and Jason Knight on this subject. And I'll be down at the Texas Select show in a couple of weeks, and that's with a whole bunch of Forged in Fire contestants. It was a show dedicated to Forged in Fire people for the longest time, but they opened it up to everybody. And I'm going to do a live stream talking to them, so we'll see what they say on the live stream. Okay, I think we're doing good with the twist. Whoop. Almost let it go. I'm literally holding it by like a 1/16 of an inch. But I would say that one of the bigger tortures of that show are the fact that you have all those bright lights and that they don't have fans blowing. So there's no real air circulation. Like right now, I've got my big door open, my side door open. I can turn the fan on if I want to. But those guys are working under those super bright lights, and you can't really see the temperature of your steel very well. Plus, on top of that, you have no real air circulation because it messes with the mics on the cameras, and you're being filmed. You're in front of people, and if you're not used to doing this like I am, talking to a camera, being in front of a camera, that can mess with your nerves by default. There's a lot of these guys that are super introverted, and going on a show like this where they have to be in front of people and around people the entire time they're doing this, and being filmed and all that stuff, that adds a layer of stress. So that's a lot of stuff that would have an issue. Let's see. Coal is actually pretty easy, just misty and goes. It's just a lot of the knives first round, like crappy, forged vaguely this size. Yep. You should never have to hog a ton of material off. I agree. The blade to be forged mostly to shape. This one judge I've not met. As soon as the blade started falling, I'm like, don't try and catch it. Yeah. I've been smacked in the face with blades. I've been smacked across the nose with them popping up out of them whenever I was using the wrong tongs and crap like that. So Kane Custom Knives, Rick from SoCal. What's going on? All right, so just double check, make sure our twist is fully out of there. Saw a little bit in the edge that I didn't like. And of course, this isn't a forge to finish knife, but I have y'all on here and I might as well take the time to make it as perfect as possible. I think we're looking good. Again, I love that ridge. That ridge looks absolutely awesome on there. Like that blade profile. That ridge in there, both sides, is just absolutely awesome. There you go. That right there is a forged profile Kwaiken with double bevels. I'd say that's a success. So what do y'all think about that? Did y'all think that made a good live? Good profile? Something a little bit different? Only 120 degrees? That ain't nothing, man. So during the summer, whenever I'm forging here, it's like 115 degrees outside the forge and 135 inside the forge. Inside this shop, 135 degrees. And I'll forge for like 6 hours. I'll go outside in the 115 degree temp and cool down. No joke. That is not a joke. That sounds ridiculous. But you go outside into the 115 degree weather and you're like, it feels cold because of how hot it gets inside the shop. 120, I can deal with. But if you're not used to that, if you're not used to Texas heat, doing this in the summer, I could imagine, like if you're a person that lives up north and that has good weather most of the time, and you have to deal with 120 degree weather, man, that would zap you. Especially if you're one of the bigger boys, you're one of the bigger knives, bigger guys, a little bit heftier. I could imagine it'd be even worse. Tried to catch a knife after I dropped it. No, never do that. Did that and Kane Custom, the acronym for that. Oh man, yeah, that's true. Last summer, kept hitting, 115 degrees multiple days. Yep. And no joke, 130 to 135 degrees in the shop whenever we were doing that. So right now, I've got the steel in the forge. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. It's going to anneal. You don't want to leave your blade in too long in the forge whenever it's going, when you're going through to the anneal step. And the whole point behind that is you'll cook it. You'll cook the blade. So if you're bringing it up to 1600 degrees to do the annealing step and to soften it back to its, nice, simple, uniform state, if you leave the blade in there for too long, it will actually, it'll burn your steel. It'll take the carbon out of it. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that if you're going to be doing the annealing phase, that you don't get distracted because it'll screw your stuff up. See here. What did it say? Mr. Rivers, are you planning to come to forging demo? Mr. Chad. Yep, I will be. Yeah, I'll be down there, and we'll be hanging out. Are you excited about that? Oh, I didn't tell y'all, so I might as well tell y'all in the live stream. So next October, November, I think like one weekend into December or something like that, I'll be forging at the Dragon Forge experience. It's a Renaissance fair in South Texas. So I think it's down by Houston, and I'll be forging the forges that we use. The mouth of the forge is a dragon's mouth. So the body of the forge is a huge dragon, and you put the steel into the mouth of the dragon. And so I'll be down there, and I'm going to be live streaming during that, filming it, all that stuff. But for every weekend for like over 2 months, I'll be down there for that, and I'll be forging about, I think it's like 10 hours a day, Saturday and Sunday, several weekends. So that's going to be some good experience, and a whole bunch of blacksmithing and bladesmithing. So that'll be cool. If y'all live in Texas, you should definitely come by and check it out. Yeah, the Dragon Forge experience. And then again, starting roughly around June, I'll be bringing people here, and we'll be doing classes in the shop. So I'll be teaching in person for people who want to come down and do that. So we'll have classes. I've already got several people who want to be part of the classes. So we're going to kind of play that by ear and see how I can schedule it out. The classes will either be 2 or 3 day classes, and basically it's a make and take. So whatever we do a profile, we make it, we forge the knife, we do all the stuff, and you leave with the finished knife. So it has to be enough time to be able to glue up a handle. It's got to have enough time to be able to temper the steel, do all that stuff, and it's going to be a pretty cool experience. So I'm excited about that. We'll move these tongs so I don't bump into them, melt my pants or something like that. The mouth, what you don't want to forge. The dragon's ass. No, I don't think we want to do that. In Alaska, they had summers of 70 degrees. Yep. Yeah. October through early December. It's real cold here, but the most extremes plus 50 and then negative 60. Yeah, negative 60 is crazy. Are you meaning Fahrenheit or Celsius, by the way? Is that 50 degrees Celsius? That way people can do their American conversion. I do find it hilarious that America is just like, screw every other measurement. We're measuring distance in miles, and we also use yards. we do everything so different. Celsius, Fahrenheit versus Celsius. Will I be at Atlanta? Yeah, I'll be at Blade Atlanta. I won't be showing there. I will be bringing projects so people can see them. I do that every year. So I'll have a few of the builds with me in my backpack. But I won't be showing there. In order to show at Blade Show Atlanta, you gotta hope that somebody decided to not use their table slot 2 years ago. So in order to be able to show at that show, like no joke, you have to be hoping that somebody's going to decide to not show, and then trying to get it to where kind of sort of in the light. But yeah, you have to be like fully set up to do it. have something set up like know a person who's planning on not going, and then have them tell the people that you're taking their spot, or they just set you up at the spot, or they take their location and they put it under the name of your thing. And then from that point forward, you have that. Like it's kind of weird how it works. But in order to get a table there, you have to be able to sign up for it. You can only sign up for let's say the Atlanta show. Directly whenever the show started, like the second day of the show, you can sign up for next year's show. But they give every table and booth there first dibs. And of course, everyone that's there wants to do it the next year. So they just go up and they re-register for the next year. So you either have to hope that they decide to make more tables, or that you're far enough on the list of people who can do it the next year that you get a table. But you're one of like 100 people that are on that list. It's crazy. You should get a trench coat for Blade Atlanta. Yeah, they're really against stuff like that. You got to be careful even bringing in your blades. They don't want you to bring in too many. I'm a little bit different because, I have like a cat pass with one of the table's names on it. So I have a slightly different pass than a normal pass. Plus, I'm filming and doing all that stuff. It's a little bit different for me versus your regular Joe. Not that I'm important at all when it comes to Blade Show, but I typically take in about 5 to 8 knives with me. And, it's not a big deal. But I wish that I could split a table with somebody, but they kind of frown against splitting the tables with people unless you say that it's like an overarching business and you work for that business and you can also show your stuff. But yeah, they're worried about the splitting table thing. If I could find somebody who would let me display on the table, I would probably go there and work their table with them and do that. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, they kind of frown against the whole sharing tables things. So trying to get into Blade Show Atlanta is a pain in the butt, but I'm going to go there as a spectator, hang out with people, hang out with all my friends that have their tables there, talk to y'all, meet y'all in person, and just do that. So pretty cool. Yeah, maybe next year. I am submitting an email the day, like the first day, Friday. I'm going to submit an email to the actual person who sets it up, because I've got their email now, because I messaged them like 10 times. And they responded and talked to me. I wasn't a stalker. I was just a person who made sure that I told them. Take my mom Blade for her birthday every year. That's pretty cool, man. So I'll be emailing them the first day saying, hey, I want a table next year. So we'll see what happens, and maybe I'll have a table in 2025. I'm already on the waiting list for Blade Show Texas next year, but I am probably gonna do a table with. So just so you know, we're Working Hard Forge, or it's Working Hand Forge. Yeah, Working Hand Forge. I think that what Chad's gonna try and do is see if we can get a booth or a table for the Dragon Forge experience. So if we can get a table or a booth that has Dragon Forge experience as the overarching name, all of us can show our knives. Especially if we did a booth. All the people that work for the Dragon Forge experience can actually show their knives. So if he can make that happen, that'd be really cool. But we need to talk with with them and figure that out. And of course, the event coordinator, I think it's Lauren, for the Dragon Forge experience. You talk to them too and figure that out. Okay. Hope to see you in Atlanta. Nice. Yeah, you will see me in Atlanta. You will see me in Atlanta. That's a cute dragon, Mom. So with y'all, just for one, make sure y'all message me. So if I'm in Atlanta, make sure you message me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and I'll make sure that I meet up with you. We will hang out, okay? So make sure y'all message me. Duck, you'll have plenty of time. You'll be able to go to these things. I mean, whenever you're still a youngin, you know. Whenever you hit a point to where you can go out and do whatever you want, you'll be able to go to all these things. There's a couple of knife makers that are super young that go to these. Little River Forge. You look them up on Instagram. There's a few different people that do that, and I think he's like 16, 17, maybe 17. I think he's 17, and he's got his own table. He had his own table at the Texas show, and he's I think he's a Journeyman Smith right now. I think he's doing it. He did his Journey Smith stuff. Yeah, I'm hoping that we do that and we get a booth for everybody. That'd be pretty cool. $20 away. How far away are you from there? So Journeyman does not take 5 years. So all you have to do is be a part of the ABS for 2 years. So have your membership set up for 2 years, and then you submit you do your testing knife. And once you pass that, then you can make your 5 knives and schedule your test for that, or just to actually show them to the panel of master smiths, which is typically at the shows like Blade Show Atlanta. They have a lot of people that do there. And then after that, you start going for your master smith. But yeah, you only have to be part of the ABS, American Blade Smith Society. Yeah, if anybody is wondering what the ABS stands for, it's not analog brake system. But yeah, it's if you're part of the ABS for 2 years, membership wise, you can go ahead and do your journeyman tests. You test them in 2 years. Nice. So I have the plan to eventually do that. I'm not in any super rush to do the journeyman or master smith stuff. Partially because I've got plenty of notoriety without it, and I don't like politics and things. I like being me as a knife maker. Eventually, I will do it, and I'll go through the process of doing it and all that stuff. But I'm in no rush to do that. I'm only 40 years old. That's not young. It's not old. I'm at the halfway point, I guess you could say. So, I mean, eventually will I do it? Yeah. But if it takes me another 5 years, I don't care. I'll do it in 5 years. If it takes me 10 years, I'll do it in 10 years. I'm not in any super rush to do that. I've still got tons of knives that I want to make that, you know, I think are super awesome, and that might not be anything that a master smith would make or whatever, but I make the stuff that I love and the things that I like, and I'm cool with that. And I got my maker's mark on it. Eventually I'll want the JS knife and the MS knife, but like the little mark on there for your Journey Smith and your master smith stuff, but it's not something that I'm super like I have to do it now. feel like I could pass a performance test now. I bet you could. I feel like I can. I mean, there's a recipe to being able to pass that test as long as you do it right. You know, blade, the still choice, the thickness choice, the grind choice, the heat treat choice, doing a blue back on the spine, and simple profile, good geometry, and make sure that you make a couple of those knives so that you can actually destroy one in your shop and make sure that it works, and then be able to replicate the heat treat and temper process. You'll be fine. The reason I'm doing it, it's pretty cool. I agree, it is really cool. Be worried if you could. Yeah, I know. At this point, it's and what's up, OG? How you doing, Mr. Franchi? So with the cool thing about knife making is there's pretty much a recipe for everything. If you're trying to do a specific thing, so many people have done that stuff in the past that all you really have to do is just talk to other people who have passed their tests and also make practice knives. It's not that hard. That way you can nail your heat treat, and you can make sure that, I'll tell you that the heat treat and temper is probably one of the biggest parts other than your edge geometry. So you can make sure that you can slice through the rope, but still do the 2x6 chop, and then shave, and then go through the rope. Make sure your edge retention's enough to where you're not going to have to worry about rolling your edge and not be able to go through the rope or anything like that. So that stuff is not super hard, and I've made blades that do all of that stuff, so I'm not that worried about that. I've made a chef's knife that can cut through a 2x6. Hell, I got a chef's knife that can cut through a 6x6 and then shave with it. So that stuff's not that hard. Edge retention is easy. Again, there's a recipe for everything. Whose shop do you want to test at? I haven't really thought about that. I mean, there are plenty of master smiths in Texas, so I mean, I could test at pretty much any of their shops. But I've got a local guy named Chad Kennedy that lives about 5 minutes away from me. He's one of the Forged and Fire champions that lives local to here. And he did all his Journeyman Smith stuff and passed it with flying colors. And I'll be going and picking his brain whenever I start doing that process. He makes some of the most beautiful knives you'll ever see in your life. If you look up, I think it's Chad Kennedy Knives on Facebook, just Chad, C-H-A-D, Kennedy, K-E-N-N-E-D-Y, Knives on Facebook or Instagram. Man, the stuff that he makes is absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. It's just ridiculous. Love his builds. Pretty much a YouTube video for everything, especially making knives. Most of us. That's what I'm talking about. I'm happy that I've been able to teach anybody anything. And I thought about doing a video on the little texture knives again, just to put it out there. But I think I'm just gonna, I didn't really film this. I just wanted to make them and have a blast doing them. But yeah, full size versions of them. I'll have those on my website tomorrow. But yeah, I enjoy doing the videos. I enjoy doing all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I could test with Jay Nilsson. He's about just under 2 hours away. His Texas shop is about 2 hours away from me. I'm going to get my Journeyman Smith eventually. Access is 7 nice. Yeah. So I will tell you this. If you want to see how well you're doing right now, whenever you go to the shows, so try to go to a blade show Texas or a blade show Atlanta or a blade show Utah, I guess that's Blade Show West. Try and go to one of those shows and take a couple of your knives and hand them to a mastersmith and tell them to pick it apart. Tell them to be real with you, because if you just hand it to them and say, "What do you think about that?" They're going to go, "Oh, that's a good looking knife, man. You did a good job." Because they're not going to beat you down. They're going to go, "That's a good looking knife. You did really good on this knife. It's a wow." And then if you tell them to nitpick it and pick it apart like it was going to be judged as a Journey Smith knife, they put on their glasses. Let me go ahead and see here. And they start looking at it and everything, and they'll tell you if your plunge is off 0.02 of an inch, if your left plunge to your right plunge is off 0.02 of an inch, or if your tip is kicked to one side, or if you got J hooks, or if there is any type of gap between your handle fitting and your guard fittings, and any of that, the guard to the ricasso, they will tell you everything that you couldn't have even imagined was wrong with the knife. They'll be like, "I didn't even know that thing existed to be wrong." So yeah. I live like 12 minutes from Kyle Royer. Seems like a good knife maker though. Yeah, he is a good knife maker. He is pretty social whenever you actually see him in person. I could see why he wouldn't be so social in his own space, because that's his space. You know what I mean? And he is pretty famous in the knife making community. He's not like a famous guy. If you told your neighbor that you got to hang out with Kyle Royer, they would be like, "Who the hell is Kyle Royer?" So he's not like famous, but he is within the knife making community. That's the same thing with Jason Knight. You go to a knife show and everybody and their mom wants to talk to Jason Knight. Outside of the knife making world, Jason Knight is nobody. Nobody knows who he is whatsoever. But whenever he's at a show, he's like a celebrity. So same thing with Jay Nilsson and a bunch of those other guys, David Becker, all of them. At a knife show, super celebrity. Not a knife show, not a celebrity. But he is a really cool guy. His dad is a cool guy. His brother's cool. His mom's cool. Getting to talk to them. I talked to his mom for like 30 minutes one day. His mom's super awesome, super friendly. So they're cool people. You just, try to talk to them when you can. If you were at a show and you told them that you lived like 5 minutes away from them, they would probably invite you to come and hang out at the shop. But you have to be in a situation to where he's in conversation mode, and then you just drop that on him like, "Hey, I'm actually like only a few minutes away from you." They would probably invite you to come hang out and see the shop. At a blade show, yeah, he's huge. State gas station, he's Kyle. Very true. Only allows 2 if you do not have a table. Yep. And of course, yeah, that's the amount of knives that you could technically bring into a blade show. They don't really check. I mean, whenever you go to these blade shows, you're going to see people who legit look like this. So they're sitting there, they're coming into blade show, and they have a cross draw blade, another cross draw blade, 2 blades on their hips, a scout carry blade on their back, and then they'll have like a backpack on, and they'll have like a blade here and a blade here. And you're like, "Man, you got like 8 blades just chilling with you right there." So yeah, they say 2, but let's just be real. There are plenty of people that go in there and buy like 10 knives, and they're just walking around with 10 knives. So, if you were trying to bring in 4 swords, they might be like, "Bro, you can only bring in 2." But when it comes to knives that are in your backpack or whatever, that's fine. I'll tell you this, if you try and sell them at the show, everyone in the show will look at you. Music stops. They look at you. They're like, "What are you doing? Not allowed to do that here. Get the F out." And yeah, Chad Kennedy's episode was absolutely epic. It was one of the only 2 episodes. So they had one episode dedicated to the beginning part, and then they had a whole other episode. It was really cool. 2 swords is 4 or 5 knives. That's true. Yeah, the first time I did get recognized was at a gas station. At that time, I was the Rivers Experience. I wasn't Eric. Well, I'm happy to hear that, man. That's really cool, and I'm happy that you're going to be down there in April. So that's gonna be really cool. Be able to come down there, hang out, and do all that, and then of course being able to hang out and do everything in the fall. It's gonna be really cool, and I'm always happy to help anybody during this. You know, I love teaching. It's one of my favorite things. Duck, well, I think I need to do that too. We're 2.5 hours into this thing. I think we need to call it here, and just kind of let this thing be. And I think we can go ahead and call it good. We did a good job. We forged our blade, got everything done. Good night, Mom. I love you. We got everything forged, and we did good. I'm excited about finishing this blade. I wanted to do a Kwaiken like this for a while, so it's gonna be cool. And we'll see if Danny Gallant ends up buying that like he bought the last Kwaiken. Guys, let's go ahead. Let's end it here. I will see y'all on Tuesday for our Shop Talk Tuesday episode. Guys, y'all have an amazing day. Have an amazing weekend. I'll catch y'all next time. And yes, that's my actual mom, Janet Jackson.